Multi-LED lights were once a thing you could only pretty much get in custom lights, but over the past 2 years, a few more have made it to production. Today I have the Astrolux S41 that uses 4 Nisha LEDs and is made from stainless steel and copper. Thanks to Banggood for sending this light to me to review. I have a link below in the description on where you can pick it up if you're interested. This light is made from polished stainless steel, as I was saying, and it's a non-polished pill here for the driver of copper. The copper does appear to have a coating because it's really not tarnishing much. The stainless steel here resists scratches decently well, but it does scratch. If we look at my bezel here, you can see that there are a few scratches on it already, and this is just from normal use while testing. And where I've put the tail clip on here, that scratches as well some. Due to the steel and copper used in this light, it's got some heft to it. With a battery, I measured it at 168.7 grams in this configuration here with the 18350 battery. In comparison here, I measured a MSR D4, which you'll see a few times in this review. It's got the same battery in it. It's made of aluminum, and it was only 76.5 grams. The length on the S41s is 80 millimeters at its longest point, and its widest point is 27 millimeters, and its narrowest is 22.4. Due to that tail cap here on the S41s, it's longer than the MSR D4 in either configuration. We can see kind of here, it's got a nice cutout for your thumb to go on that button. Sadly, the button does not light up like it does on some other flashlights with these clear buttons. You've got nice holes here for lanyard attachment. This comes into multiple pieces. You've got the tail cap here, which disassembles further if you want to. This middle battery tube section. You've got the copper pill, and you've got this head. Everything really unscrews nicely. Knurling on this light is super aggressive. It's more aggressive than any of the lights I own. While I like that feel in my hand, it makes for a pretty terrible pocket EDC, as it'll tear up the material in your pants. With this stainless steel model, you could sand down the knurls a bit and smooth it out some if you wanted. As I mentioned before, this is a tail switch light, as opposed to the MSR D4, which is a side switch. There isn't an LED under the cover here by default, unfortunately. While this is good for overall battery life, it lessens the cool factor, I think. I imagine you could mod it or find the parts from an VFLA6 to do that yourself. In the short configuration here, this does have enough material to stand up on its edge like that. Fairly stable, but not perfectly stable. This light's also compatible with an 18650 tube that's sold separately. I chose a rainbow model versus the black aluminum since I thought it'd go better with the stainless steel of the S41s. Knurling on this is also deep and very aggressive. Since the 18650 batteries have a greater energy density, it would increase the maximum runtime as well. The included pocket clip does fit on both tubes, and is a pretty good pocket clip, as you can see here. It deep carries nicely. This light uses 4 Nisha 219C LEDs in neutral white at around 5000 Kelvin. On mine, these LEDs were definitely on the warm side for Nisha 219Cs. I don't mind this at all, and I prefer it to cool white. Output on max mode is listed at somewhere around near 1600 lumens, and everything is powered by a FET driver, so a high drain battery is needed for optimal performance and output. The downside is heat, especially with the Nisha LEDs, which typically run warmer than others. This Astrolux S41 has a very floody beam. With these Carrillo type optics, it really smooths out the beam pretty well. At shorter distances, there is a bit of flower petal effect going on, but in real world use, I really don't notice it. So here you can see it's pretty good. There's really no problems going on. Here are my night shots for the Astrolux S41s. I'm running this with an 18350. Here it is in the lowest mode. Very low. You really can't see anything, and I'm going to bump up here and then pan up. So this is starting to throw a little bit. It's a very floody light. This is mode 3. You can start to see the fence there. Mode 4 and mode 5. Here is turbo. Quite bright. Very floody beam. This is the Nisha LEDs, so you can see the wood there and what little green grass there is. It is winter yet here. And Pretty nice floody beam. This doesn't really go very far. It's just what it is. I want to compare it to the D4 here, and the D4 is brighter. It's the same LEDs, but it is brighter. If we compare again here, here's the S41, here is the D4. Very similar beam patterns, both floods with optics on them. Parasitic drain was measured at 4.1 microamps, which is pretty low, and working voltage is 2.8 to 4.25 volts. I did my run times with an Aspire 18350 1100 milliamp hour battery and the short tube that's included. And this light does step down from 100% output after a few minutes. I believe this is timed. Over the next 17 or so minutes, the light continues to slowly decline as the battery empties out. It had a hard hit step down, and when it went into moonlight mode after about 25 minutes. At the 25-minute mark, I took the temperature reading of the flashlight at 120 degrees on the body of the light, which is uncomfortable to hold. To improve the runtime dramatically, you could purchase separately the 18650 tube and be able to draw more current from the FET driver, allowing for more performance lumens, heat, and runtime. As far as UI, this light uses the UI that Toykeeper developed for the BLF A6. By default, this light ships in Group 1, which includes 7 modes from moon to turbo, and it can be changed by short presses. This is quite a few modes, but they're pretty evenly placed. Group 2 includes 4 modes, which is low, medium, high, and turbo, and they're accessible via short half presses. If you press longer, about 1.5 seconds, you do get into the different groups. The different groups are moon, turbo, tactical strobe, and battery check and bicycle flasher. And this light does have memory modes and moon modes, which is both nice. For demonstration purposes, here is moon mode. This firmware is a little bit complex, but Toykeeper has done a great job of writing up all its features and diagramming it. Instead of me reading that all to you, I'll have a link in the description on where you can read more about it. I definitely recommend you check it out. This light gets hot, and I can't stress that enough. It's so hot, in fact, it caused itself to fall apart. Let me tell you how. I had a ceiling fixture in my bedroom fail catastrophically, and I was forced to use test flashlights for light in my bedroom for about a week until new parts arrived. I was testing the S41s, and I had it on the long tube with a Sony VTC6, and I had it on high mode to bounce the light off my ceiling and give a nice light while dressing and doing other things. The light fell off my table that I had it on, and I went to shut it off quickly and pick it back up. It was so incredibly hot I dropped it when I went to try to pick it up. I then picked it up with my sleeve and took the battery out because I knew it wasn't good for the battery itself. I went and got a non-contact thermometer, and I measured it at 165 degrees, and the light itself, after it had cooled down to about 155 degrees. This is dangerously hot, not only for humans and burns, but it's also pretty dang hot for the battery. You might be thinking, okay, it got hot, but is it all right now? Not quite. That combination of heat and dropping the light caused one of the wires to come loose on the inside of the driver board, and it caused the MOSFET to shift on the pad and no longer make contact. I ended up taking the light apart, taking it to a friend's house to use his hot air soldering station to remove the MOSFET and resoldering it. After that, the light works great. So if you're running this light for an extended period of time in turbo with a very high drain battery like I was, don't drop it. When I was doing my battery testing, the light also got very hot, but after I stopped the test, I shut the power off and just let the light be in the setting it was, and it was fine. Here is the packaging the light came in. It's just a brown box. It is cut a little bit different, kind of a bit of style on there. The light ships with the clip not attached, and it comes in, you get a lanyard as well, which it's a pretty nice lanyard other than this narrow section here. It's got the little button to allow you to adjust the length. And in this bag you get some extra O-rings, you get a clear button, and you get this yellow button as well. This is the body tube that is optional to purchase. It's pretty inexpensive, so I'd recommend ordering one as well when you order the light. They have them in black and aluminum, or you can get this rainbow stainless steel like I did. And here is the S41s with that 18650 tube compared to the MSR D4 with the 18650 tube as well. So the pros of the S41s are it's very affordable for a quad LED light, and there are 3 tint options available. Those tint options are the XPG3, the XPG2, and the Nisha 219C that I've got here. The stainless steel is a very small price premium over the aluminum. I think it looks nice, but you do pay a weight penalty. And I think this is an efficient design considering it's a tail switch, which are always going to make lights a little bit longer. The cons are this light is a heavy light for its size. The normal S41 trades in the stainless steel for aluminum, which would save a bit of weight if you're concerned. The knurling is aggressive and may rip up pockets easily. It gets really hot and the thermal controls are pretty minimal. It does have a decent amount of mass to spread it out though. The whole light does get hot, not just the head. And it's not as bright as the MSR D4, but it's still plenty bright for really normal uses. When the Astrolux S41 came out, it was one of the only affordable quad LED lights produced that was quality on the market. However, when the MSR D4 came out last summer, it was super popular. Costs are pretty comparable depending on where you shop from. For me, I like the ramping UI of the D4 better. It's lighter and it's a little shorter, but it is more expensive. I think the S41s here is a more attractive light, and I like that it has a tail switch. The lanyard mounting holes are better, and it's got a smaller diameter head and body. It has a more traditional flashlight UI, and it can be a little complex if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. While both lights are similar, they're unique enough you could easily have both, which is what I'll do. I like that the S41s is available in a couple different LED choices because not everyone has the same preference in LEDs. I'm glad Nisha 219Cs are an option. I like that they've thought to include a clip as well. If you're interested in picking up the S41s, I'll have a link in the description below to where you can get it on Banggood. If you don't have a small quad LED hot rod flashlight in your life, get one now. They're a ton of fun. Your friends will be amazed. Thanks for watching my video. Please help me reach my goal of 10,000 followers by July by making sure you click that subscribe button today.